They looked pretty good last year. We'll see how they can look here in Game 3 as we get ready for picks and bans. Rival in that first pick slot. It has been the second pick team that has won every time, so we'll see if that trend continues. Is there any way that Geb gets picked in this game? Like, there's no way that these teams look at what happened to each side in Games 1 and 2 and decide, I think Geb is the best pick here.
I think I would prefer to see both of these teams take their chances on slightly more aggressive supports. I think for both of the supports that they have, DineOhSaw as well, it just doesn't really seem to fit so far for these guys because their hunters are so aggressive. Davy and Vaporish are both two hunters that want to get up in your face, up close and personal, no matter what kind of ADC they are piloting. So why handicap that any further with a less aggressive support? I want to see these guys get up close and personal.
King Arthur has been banned in that first slot basically every game. This time it's the RDO, so now it's up to Dobbo's team if they want to ban that Arthur or let it through. It's been a lot of King Arthur and Zeus bans, and it will be Zeus that they decide to ban away. So Rival kind of put them behind the 8-ball, and is it going to be King Arthur first pick here for Rival is the question.
Guan Yu instead seems to be the calling card here, and for very likely what is going to be a Predator's pick, I would imagine, but that does leave King Arthur open for Dobbo's Disciples if they want to take it for themselves, and I definitely think that he would be a strong frontlining member for this team. They don't have to worry about the cripple field either from an RDO. I think RDO is probably seen as one of the better counter matchups for this King Arthur, so it's interesting that they're not going to only get the King Arthur, but the Bacchus as well.
Already looking much better in my mind in this draft. Not that the Guan Yu is a bad first pick. I think Guan is in a really good spot right now. Cabrakan's pretty good to follow it up after that, but to get the Bacchus in your duo lane, Switch played very well on it in Game 1, got his first blood there. Already I think Dobbo is off to a much better start.
Personally, I think I would probably rather have the King Arthur and the Bacchus. I think it's a little bit easier for those two characters to be and feel a lot more tanky, especially Bacchus with the recent buffs and his passive now having a little bit more of an impact off of the chug. But I love seeing the Bakasura as well as follow-up to that because King Arthur and Bacchus, they're just going to be all over the place, I think, causing a lot of chaos in these team fights, and I think it'll be really difficult for Rival to keep track of where this Bacchus winds up, and that could be trouble for Fly on the Scylla.
Dobbo's Disciples kind of going back to what they did well in game number 1, where they win looking pretty good doing it. It's Bacchus, Bakasura. It was RDO instead of King Arthur, but still pretty close. You know, a player that can really bully you out in lane, but also control team fights pretty well. So Dobbo's Disciples looking pretty strong through their first 3 picks. Uller taken away from Vaporish Coast as Rival still has one more ban to go.
That was a really late Najah ban too, I feel, from
I don't think it's been
Dobbo's
picked
Disciples.
or banned at all, though, this game. Neither has Freya, by the way. Freya's been open and not selected at all.
It's just not these Hunters playstyles.
Yeah.
As weird as that might sound, I don't see Vaporish or Davy as Hunters that prefer Freya, and as strong as she might be, they'd still rather take their chances with the physical gods, just like what we're seeing here from Vaporish, running it back with the Cernunnos again, just like he did in Game 1, except this time Rival did leave their Hunter choice up to the last pick, and I feel like that's a rather interesting transition as well from Rival. They've opted for their ADC, usually around that by the 4th pick slot, so Cupid feels out of place here.
I mean, there are a lot of dashes on the side of Dobbo's Disciples. I mean, King Arthur gets shut down pretty well by the cripple. Bacchus, Bakasura, Cernunnos, all affected by that Fields of Love. And you add in that Cabrakan cage, that could be really good. I love this soul pick. You get slow immunity during this Apparate channel. You've got no worries with the Cupid whatsoever. But I don't know. I kind of like the Cupid pick, but it's high risk, high reward. It feels like Davy's either going to get ahead and run the game, or he's going to become behind and useless pretty quickly.
I think that's the best way to put it. It's risk versus reward. If he's able to make use of the Fields of Love, then I can definitely see where Rival are able to get the advantage. But for the most part, I think I would probably favor Dobbo's Disciples draft simply because it feels like their pressure is a lot easier to confirm.
We'll have to wait and see. Rival versus Dobbo's Disciples. Rival versus Coast. Game 3, we're getting a winner right after this.
We will indeed get a winner, but the question is, who will it be? Rival to Lee have kind of gone back to what they won last game with. A couple of changes to the dual lane, but Cabrakan, Guan Yu, and Scylla worked out very well Game 2.
You mentioned it behind the scenes, but if history repeats itself for this series, here into Chaos has won Games 1 and 2.
They have.
This game 3, Dobbo's Disciples got King Arthur because Rival thought it was a better idea to ban away the Shipalake, really focusing out Vaporish.
Was surprised that Dobson didn't go back to the Terra, but I can understand Agro's point on the desk there about the soul pickup and how the Disapparate will be helpful. I do predict that the dual lane should be behind from Rival's point of view. They were trying to do an interesting start here of baiting the over-aggression from Dobbo's, and Switch will eat the Heart Bomb, like his Duke out of the minion wave, though, to make sure his archers don't get hit by it.
Only hitting the melee minions is going to slow down the clear time from Rival, so there could be potential purple buff invade. We're going to see how Rival plays around with it. There's still 3 more archers that they have to go through. DineOhSaw could look for the steal, but I think that instead of the purple, the red buff more delicious.
But both the mid laners involved here. 60-meter fly coming around the corner, looking for the crush, won't find the steal or the defense. In time, it's stolen by Dobbo's Disciples, and that gives Dobson a bit of a lead in the mid lane as they also get the purple.
Wow, that is really bad start. The dash even from Vaporish Ghost. The cleaves allows him to get the first blood for Switch.
Yeah, that cleave was actually really important there to keep the damage dished out and forcing Davey back too. But in the mid lane, it's Fly that may have to get away. I tell a lie, Mango didn't do anything apart from eat a minion there.
See, I thought DineOhSaw switched it up very well in game 2 by picking the RDO, but instead he didn't learn his lesson from game number 1 into game 3. He picks a very passive level 1 god. Terra just too slow to get online.
I agree, level 1 definitely she's weak, but 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, she's a murderer. She just doesn't care.
But look at the meta so far this whole set. It's been around that level 1/2 skirmish around the purple and the red buff, and playing a Terra, you're almost inviting your opponents to just kind of feast all around your own buffs.
And the worst thing is, it's actually started to cause a problem in the mid lane already, with Dobson being able to steal away that red from Fly, at least just in terms of taking the experience away, has evened things up a little bit there for the time being.
And with that first blood, that's going to allow Switch to build almost whatever he wants. I'm expecting him to build a little bit more aggressively. A good knock-up onto DineOhSaw. This could be kill number 2.
Oh, DineOhSaw will get the walls down in time. The dash from Coast. Only way connected onto Davey there as they split the difference of damage. Speed buff being looking to be invaded by Dobbo's now. It is a Bakasura once again. Crush saves the day for Fly.
Mango was trying to pull it backwards as fast as he could, but just didn't get it there in time. Maybe he used it on those back camps. We didn't really get to see it on the screen there, but still, stripping away the little minions anyway is going to give more of an experience lead, especially with this blue buff invade.
Yeah, they will steal away the blue on the right-hand side as well. At least that'll be something they can pick up for themselves, and giving it to King Arthur, denying blue buff from a Guan definitely causes some problems in that solo lane.
More action in the left lane with this lane push. The red buff respawning. I'm expecting Dobson to outclear Fly and look for the rotation as well. Looking at DineOhSaw and Davey still holding on to the wave. This is going to be the second red buff steal out of Dobbo's.
It does feel, they're totally looking at this, that Rival are just happy to surrender things in this early game, maybe go for a cheeky save, but they're not over-aggressing anywhere. All their lanes seem to be pinned under tower and they're okay with it. And now they're trying to do something around the purple here. Level 3 versus level 4s from Team Rival. After a heart bomb from Davey, that's the end of the discussion around the purple buff. But they do have backup, and that's what the bait's about.
I don't know about this play, because DineOhSaw's taking a whole lot of damage, and just like that, the Bramble Blast was enough for Vaporish Coast. Using all your abilities outside of the wave, the pushing power goes to favor of Dobbo's. If you're using even more abilities with the root dash, then you're getting all the archers to hit you as well. Rival are just misplaying this dual lane.
Yeah, it was a bit discombobulated from the whole of Rival there, because mid and jungle did come over for the purple buff. And I think dual lane thought they were going to help them to take the fight. Instead, they just farmed the purple experience, secured that, and that ended up costing DineOhSaw his life.
They're severely miscalculating the return fire damage between not only the archers that was there at the wave, but also the damage coming out of Vaporish Coast. Cernunnos does have some basic attack steroids with his shifting of the seasons, but still his abilities do quite a bit, and you have to respect it.
I think DineOhSaw's going to make a couple adjustments on the Terra too, not really utilizing the passive as well as you'd like from a Terra player, just because, well, if you've got any of your walls down, like your monolith or your crushing walls that cause problems, you can't be knocked up, which eliminates one of a lot Switch will want to bring to the battlefield.
Even if you can't get knocked up, the stun coming from Switch's Bacchus is going to be really good. Mango has the cripple available to him with a regurgitated. I think DineOhSaw, as difficult of a time he's currently having before level 5, it might be even harder after some of the other players get level 5.
Love what Switch just did in the mid lane. You didn't see it on the camera, but he walks up against a jungler and a mid lane of his Bacchus and goes, "How's it going?" And they immediately disengage, worried about aggression, because the aggression could come. Mango's flanking around the back, not been spotted because the towers won't pick it up. There was no minion wave there. And another red buff invade goes the way of Dobbo's disciples, and the game continues where Chaos in this setup has been winning throughout.
Switch a level 2 lead over DineOhSaw, looking for any sort of poke damage he can get onto DineOhSaw. And I like the fact that you mentioned what Switch did in the mid lane, because sometimes as a Guardian player, there's a lot of mind games you have to do to get the edge, and sometimes the threat itself is scarier than the actual damage itself, but this damage is scarier.
Oh yeah, you'll feel it, but Predator's still tanky enough to weather most of this storm, gets under his tier 1 tower, continues the trade, has to use the cavalry, stuns him in place, overpowered, he's stunned for half a year, but with a quick slice, he'll fall down. Predators will take that as a victory in a 1v1 scenario where he was at a deficit.
OverPoweredUSB, having Gladiator Shield, was calculating about how he knew he was going to get back health while diving the tower, but he didn't expect such a long stun coming from the cavalry charge. Basically eating 3, maybe even 4 tower shots sealed his fate.
Floppy mid lane on fly, but he did get the escape online just in time. I was going to say that fight in the solo lane should have gone Predator's way just because of the minion wave, but unfortunately, the minions are going to block most of that minion wave getting into the tower, which means OverPoweredUSB will get most of that farm, even though his teleport is still on cooldown.
And the thing was, Predators had the tier 2 version of the Blackthorns, so having a lot of health allowed him to survive a little longer under his own tier 1 tower. I think it still favors Predators to sacrifice his own life, but then missing that wave as a result is never a good thing. The thing about Arthur is, while he's killing you with his abilities, he's also killing the wave, so he didn't miss out on much farm. He has a 1-level lead.
Mango really does like to go towards these junglers that are very farm heavy in the jungle. Quick camp clears and quick rotations can cause some problems and limit some of the experience Rapio is getting. You can see Rapio 2-level disadvantage in the jungle right now as Dobbo's disciples look to invade yet another red buff at the moment.
Similar story to behind the Pele. You know, 2v1 Vaporish Coast in a sticky situation. Fly gets 1 kill, looking for more.
Can't find the, well, just find the ammo monster, but not the actual kill. Mango will take out DineOhSaw as Coast did a good job there of at least buying time with his ultimate for reinforcements to arrive, but he takes a tumble down in trade of a support, and the red buff still going Dobson's way. That works
so far.
So far, so good for Dobbo's disciples.
I think so. I think trading, even though you're losing your hunter for support, at the end of the day, getting that red buff is going to extend the lead for Dobson. And Rival are going to need to ride the train of Rapio's seismic shift while there's no Phantom still on the battlefield, right? Like level 12 DineOhSaw, Switch might be picking up a Phantom, trying to alleviate some of that pressure. Vaporish Coast is going to be in a bad spot. I think that Dobson, if his Disapparate is not used, then he's going to be in a bad spot. So Rapio just needs to be at the right place, at the right time, drop the wards, see where these squishies are heading to, and trying to cut them off.
These two teams in Europe, it's been a while since we've had 2 really good teams on Xbox in Europe, and it's looking like this could be 2 of the very best I've seen in a while, because Rival backs to their old ways to an extent. But Dobbo's disciples are not far behind him at the moment, Tom.
No, definitely not. Their shot calling in game number 1 was very impressive. Really was. Their composition in game number 2 was left to be desired. It almost felt like they were doing what Rival was doing in game 1 with between the Gep support and trying to show that they could do it better than them. But I think sticking to their guns of aggressive supports like Switch playing this Bacchus again, Mango playing this Bakasura again, is allowing them to build off of this early lead. Almost 5,000 gold in the lead.
And when you think about it, it's not even 9 minutes in the game yet. That is quite a lot of gold and a lot of experience too. The Rival are going to have to fight back into now. They're trying to defend their own blue and will do so successfully. It will force Predators to use his ultimate defensively. I like the way he dismounted himself straight away to stun the minions, stun Bakasura in place, and deny any further aggression. But talking about further aggression, Mango was looking for something in mid. Remember, he doesn't have his ultimate anymore.
So using your ultimate to stun is a catch-22 because, yeah, you stun them to prevent a little bit more damage, but by stunning it right away, you decrease the duration, so you don't travel as far as you normally would. So he could have gotten under his tier 1 tower. I thought for sure he was going to get dove.
Ooh, Mango just being chased around the jungle and avoids everything, one after the other for the most part. Feels the love now. Down is the flock from Switch, hits onto DineOhSaw. DineOhSaw will get his ult off in time as Mango gets taken out by DineOhSaw. He goes down to Dobson in response, making it a 1-for-1. Jungler for support, and DineOhSaw's going to be okay
He's
with
fine with that. He's 0-4 right now, so he's like, okay, I mean, I'm not worth much more gold than I currently am, so he'll take that trade every day of the week.
Switch route in place, but the Crush did not really find a home. Davey hits the hard ball on the Gold Fury. It won't be enough to bring down Switch, who's just going to walk away from Predators. OverPoweredUSB now on the rotation too. Both solo lanes a little bit worried about that breaking out into a bit more of a fight that could result in a Gold Fury.
Definitely great rotation from Predators. If that dash connected onto Switch, you could have maybe chased it down, and every time you connect your Warrior's Will, it resets your cooldowns by 2 seconds, so getting the cavalry charge would have been potentially a kill there. Yeah. And if they find Switch, that would have been an early 10-minute Gold Fury, but not going to be the case quite yet. Both solo laners going back to their lanes.
In the end, it's OverPoweredUSB that's got the advantage in this lane, because that tower is on its last legs right now. Predators trying to get the totem of coup.
You got it.
Should do so momentarily, but he will lose his tier 1 tower on the right-hand side, I think, unless he can catch some of these archers in time.
I don't know. It might go down. Either way, regardless if he gets these archers or not, I think OPUSB will just walk in, sneeze at the tower whenever he wants to, just to get another 500 gold. And I like what OPUSB was doing, not contesting the Totem of Q, but trying to zone the Guan Yu away to deny him whatever gold and experience that he can to try to get that edge.
Apologies for the technical difficulties there, but there's no interruption in the gameplay. Gold Fury being looked at by Disciples now. They're grouped up on this left-hand side. The Oracles are spawning. Maybe looking for a cheeky pick onto DineOhSaw, who can struggle a little bit against the Bakasura.
Definitely could. He has Hasten Katana. He is going to chase DineOhSaw till the end of the world whenever he really wants to. He did force himself to use that regurgitate, but I don't know if that was necessarily worth it if they're not going to go for an objective.
Yeah, Oracles will go down, though, in the way of Dobbo's Disciples. I'm going to have a quick pause here. Just going to make sure we deal with those technical issues real quick. Make sure we don't have any more. Has this game gone as you expected so far?
A little bit, actually, because Switch playing this Bacchus has been aggressive. Dobson able to outpush flying the mid lane is allowing both dual lane and mid lane to just consistently invade the purple-red buff. That's been the theme of this whole entire set, whether it's Rival in Game 2, whether it's Dobbo's Disciples in Game 1, and now in Game 3.
Yeah, this is a big game for both these two teams. Only in Week 2 already, but the early pace setting is really important to who's got claim to the throne, so to speak, over in Europe, just to start off the season.
A lot of mind games between these two teams, knowing that Vaporish Coast was a former member of Rival, recognizing this Rival wanted to ban away his Shibalanke to start it off, but then allowing OverPoweredUSB to play the King Arthur could come back to haunt them. We saw that solo kill under the tier 1 tower. Imagine that kind of damage onto a squishy.
Yeah, the Excalibur ultimate does do true damage and cause problems. That's why he can go so tanky and weather the storm for the most part. Does he bring enough to team fights, though, totally? Because he's a nuisance, but is that all his job is?
That's basically every solo laner's job, right? At the end of the day, is get into the backline by any means necessary, blink or otherwise, and then just force the enemy mage or the hunter to get out of the action, and then make that 5-on-5 a 5-on-4 even in your advantage.
Yeah, 5-on-4 then. We'll see how that works out as this game continues on. Both the junglers, though, making pretty big impacts on Rapio and Mango, too. I'm a little bit worried about Mango's only really showing one sort of god, which is very farm-centric in the jungle. His ganks have been good, though, when he's had the opportunity, but Baka and Pele, the only two we've really seen so far.
I wasn't too impressed by his Pele performance in that second game, because I think that Dobbo's just kind of fell behind too early to really allow the Pele to shine in that game, but I think his Bakasura has been a little bit more aggressive because of his Hasten Katana rush. Utilizing the Bakasura passive to get extra movement speed, he's been able to outpace Rapio playing this Cabrakan in the farming category. Even in the Pele game, he was able to outpace him in the leveling department, and that's what he's relying on, I think, in some of these games, to just get to the level 12 marker, get the second relic, and maybe look for a power play off of that.
Yeah, and that seems to be what the window seems to be from Dobbo's Disciples for the most part. They played a lot around the team fights as well. You can really tell when the initiations come in, they're on the same page for shot calling.
Yes.
And I think that's what's caught Rival off guard a little bit, that they're that good in terms of like working as a unit.
That's true. Rival was very good at shot calling in game number 2, Dobbos in game number 1. So far in game 3, there's been all the invades, but no Gold Furies quite yet. They're just kind of really methodical about it. They've been building a pretty substantial lead, considering that there have been no Gold Furies. Just off of buffs alone, with only the tier 1 tower and the soul lane going down, Dobbo is really commanding this game so far.
Well, we should be going back into game momentarily. Apologies for the delays there, but into the action we are 5-3, and Dobbo Dobbo's Disciples going to take this window and look for the Gold Fury.
They're
3
doing
members
it.
strong, and switch on zone duty is going to be enough. He just flops away to live to fight another day.
I called it, like, you know, no Gold Fury yet. And then as soon as we come back into play, boom, Dobbo securing their first one 12 minutes in. A little
Cast a
later
curse.
than games 1 and 2, but better late than never. Now building off of about a 6,000 gold lead almost.
Pyromancer was available now, but I thought we were going to see a bit of a transfer of damage from Dobbo's Disciples straight to it, but in the end of the day, won't be the case. Instead, it's back
Look at
to
this power play, level 12 on OP-USB. He backed for Blink. He also has Blackthorn's Hammer. This is a great timing window to make something happen in mid.
This blink that you're talking about with King Arthur, though, what are you looking to do with that? Is it just blink ult? Is that it?
You could Blink ult. I think the better play is save your ult and then Blink kind of knock up.
Well, no saving this ult. Sonny slaps it down onto Predator's head. Goes to the backline for DineOhSaw, who's relatively low and has to ult in response. But the damage has already been done. Dobbo's Disciples get themselves a Pyromancer. Vaporish Coast did make a rotation, which has given Davey a bit of free farm on the left-hand side. Won't amount to much more than that for the time being, except a bit more gold for Dobbo's.
And he really needs that farm on the left side. A 2-level deficit, trying to finish off that Transcendence. It's a similar story to that first game when Davey was playing the Xbalanque, where he wasn't getting the stacks that he needed to in time. The faster build from Vaporish Coast is just allowing them to steamroll and just get this waterfall trickle effect in the items, in the gold, the experience, and now the objectives.
Yeah, and the main thing is those third items you can see being built after the blessings at the start of the game, a little bit further along by a long margin than that of their opponent's rival. And all Rival are going to do really is hold on, try not to lose too much and get too far behind, because their late game's not too bad, totally. Their frontline tankiness and sustain's good. They've got Scylla for the massive crushes and armor monsters, and a good team fight utility out of Davey if he can make it work. But at the moment, they're hemorrhaging a lot of objectives.
Uh-oh. A lot of damage onto Mango, forced to disengage. Rapio was looking for something with the seismic shift. Not going to find it quite yet, forced to reset. And I agree with you, Hindu. The late game is good, but it was good for them in game number 1, and look how it turned out for them.
DineOhSaw will get away from Switch this time around after the flop. Quite a few flops have connected onto DineOhSaw. I've not seen any walls down. If you can see it coming, you can throw down a wall to negate it, but it won't matter for now. Left-hand side, however, Mango keeping Davey in check, and Bakasura loves those assassins. Well, loves as an assassin taking on hunters, and Davey may have bit off more than he can chew, so to speak, as they trade ultimates. The rest of his team in the mid lane will bring down a tier 1 tower, and maybe, just maybe, a Terra.
They got her for free. OP-USB just securing that one easily, because Fly wanted no part of that action, even having I'm a monster, but realistically, there wasn't going to be a kill there for the Scylla player. I think Fly had a fantastic set thus far, having so many kills. I'm pretty sure that Rival won game 2 because of how successful Fly was on the Scylla. So they are really leaning on this mid pick to try to dig their way out of this hole.
Yeah, Dobson's looked pretty good for himself over the course of the set so far. Obviously, 2 games on Terra under his belt, which is a strong, potent character as is. The one thing Dobbo's Disciples have done a little bit more so than Rival is grouping a little bit earlier, it feels like to me, to try and answer this back. They've got a lead established. It's only 15 minutes in, but you already saw them grouping around the mid lane, trying to make sure they keep this pressure rolling and keep the aggression up.
I think what it comes down to is everyone is just a little bit faster mobility-wise. Mango playing Bakasura versus the Cabrakan. You got that passive going for Cabrakan. Dobson playing the Soul has the Disapparate, so extra mobility versus the Scylla Sentinel. Bacchus is just going to be able to get the lane pressure, which transitions into leaving the lane and getting into the next neutral objective faster. So everything that Dobbo's has is a combination of outclear and more mobility.
Not only that, though, the experience is definitely still mattering too. A couple of level leads everywhere across the map. 2 levels for Vaporish Coast. 1 level for Dobson in the mid lane, but it was actually 2 to 3 for Mango in the jungle. Disciples setting up yet again to steal away Rival's red buff. Fly will be there, but not in time to try and find a crush that could defend it, as Rapio's trying to return the favor on the left-hand side of the map still. The red buff isn't available. Instead, all you'll find is some back harpies.
I like how Switch was just kind of casually at the back harpies, just seeing and patrolling around like a night guard around the mall. Flashes his flashlight around the dark, sees somebody, it's like, all right, you're good.
Stun connects from Switch. Flop off the mark onto DineOhSaw from Switch there as well. The next Fury is about to spawn. It's going to be an Oni Fury this time round, which I'm sure he might get a chance to talk about if Predators gives us a window. At the moment, he was on his cavalry charge and now Excalibur to the back of his head. Meanwhile, Mango's looking for a pick onto Davey, who escapes danger for now, using the Aegis.
Good beads to prevent the stun coming out of Rapio. Good patience from Mango also not to dive the tier 2 tower. He could have definitely gotten the kill under the tier 2 tower, but his life is more valuable than a level 14 Cupid because now that's going to allow him to DPS the Gold Fury. Second one of the game for Dobbo's, about a 7, almost 8,000 gold lead now.
I just love the fact Dobbo's is sending only Mango and Switch to try and zone people, trying to force a couple of abilities, making sure they can't get in deep to try and defend the Gold Fury. And if they're lucky, they can actually force a couple of ultimates, which have happened too, which means the defense just isn't going to be there for Rival.
Everything's just going Millhouse, or as I would like to say, everything coming up Millhouse for Dobbo's Disciples between the objectives, the invades. Rival needs to find a way to stop this if they want to actually win this series, and the next one is going to be the Fire Giant. This is the fastest one of the set.
But Predators is here, as is Rapio. They'll be the first ones on the scene to assess the damage done, and I'll tell you something now, the damage was done quick there. That was below 25% for a moment. But just the presence of those two will be enough to force Dobbo Disciples to reset. Switch wasn't with them. He was just going back to base for his relic, which is going to be a cursed knock.
Discipline from Dobbo's resetting that Fire Giant is SPL-esque.
Yeah. Someone is shot calling and everybody else is listening. Rapio goes in though, gets the wall off onto 2, gets the Aegis onto Dobson, who gets away for now. Vaporish Coast, a different story. He gets bursted down and Davey gets the kill. DineOhSaw the one after the fact. And just when we're giving credit to Dobbo's Disciples, they get picked in the jungle from great play from Rival.
Dobbo's just caught with their hand in the cookie jar for a little bit too long. Switch preoccupied in the mid lane, clearing out some minions. Was not available for any sort of defensive measures there.
And now Switch has to give up a tier 1 tower in mid. Mango getting kept honest by Predators as the flop from Switch is defensively used. Rapio still going in, taking up a storm, but 8 more than he bargained for. Will stay alive for now, however. Predators round the back, but so is Mango.
Oh, wow, look at him just melt through Davey, trying to find a second target onto DineOhSaw. The heals out of Predators, keeping the Terra alive, rooting a couple of members into place, has the speed buff available, avoids the root, but in the back line, Predators trying to catch Dobson.
2 fights at the same time, and Fly had to make a call and made the right one to give Predator a double kill. Mango will pick up Switch and now look for Fly too, but a root will stop him in his tracks and force him to leap away. Predators now the last line of defense, trying to heal and stay alive as long as possible, but the chase is still on. A double crush connection Fly, and the root was even better. Chase still continuing, speed buff for Mango, remember, but instead they're going to relinquish the pressure. Or are they looking for fire?
Tier 2 tower on the right side almost fell to minions, just narrowly on the brink of extinction. Also, the left side tier 2 tower, that is just 3,000 gold waiting for Dobbo's whenever they want it.
We were mentioning that all that fight was going on there, Tolly. We didn't mention anything about the Oni Hunters, Oni Fury, I should say, going down. But that's the reason those towers are so weak. Those minions get empowered.
That's right.
And if they're left alone and unchecked, they'll take down towers and phoenixes. And that's exactly, well, almost what just happened to Rival's base.
And a powered minion wave in every single lane, if left unchecked for long enough, will do some serious damage to these towers. And even the Phoenixes, if left unchecked.
And so it's not a bad idea, right, to end up fighting straight after doing it.
And the thing was, if the Gold Fury, the Oni Gold Fury, was done after 20 minutes, at the 20 minutes, between 20 and 30, you get 2 big Gladiator minions guaranteed. So that would have been even harder. Because it was before the 20-minute, between the 10 to 20, you're only getting the 1 big melee minion. So I think Rival, thanking their lucky stars, that Gold Fury wasn't as late as it was.
Predators meets Mango in the jungle, not too worried about taking some of the damage and seeing what can happen there. Rapio gives a bit of a slap to Mango's head, but he should be able to heal up off a minion wave, no problem. Switch, on the other hand, loses a third of his health to Fly on that Scylla. And you can see Scylla starting to swing now. She's getting a little bit closer to that late game build. Soul Reaver online does make it a little bit less worthwhile to build health.
Trying to wrap around the backhand side, I think, but it's actually Rival that's starting up the Fire Giant. I don't know about this call. They're trying to look for some picks and some stragglers. Vapourish goes forced to use the Wild Hunt defensively, but Switch is the one in trouble.
And chomp from Mango as he looks to the backline for Fly, who had already used his Aegis, but he will escape round the corner. The ultimate from Dobson connects, but it won't be enough damage. Instead, the root was even better to separate to the rescue as Excalibur comes out onto Predators.
Ooh.
And Vapourish Ghost gets a double, but the Iron Monster will end Dobson's life. Mango coming in for DineOhSaw, and there's another one extinct. Fly, the last man standing, but not for long.
No, not for long at all. Mango has the mobility. He needs to just connect onto one basic
Slow,
attack.
the
Root. He needs one more basic, but it's overpowered, absorbing the shot like a sponge and getting the last hit. I think Dobbo's is now getting themselves a Phoenix.
They're going to get a Phoenix on the right-hand side. It'll take them some time, however. Minions will cause a problem. No backdoor protection removal. But with a Bakasura and with a Cernunnos, that'll be good enough to bring it down. And it's all rivals still on the back foot, would you believe? 11,000 gold down now, and there's not even been a Fire Giant yet.
And it's funny that they were the ones starting that Fire Giant in the first place, only because Fly did that 33% health onto Switch originally around the corner. They thought, okay, it's probably going to be Switch face-checking the Fire Giant, but no, Dobbo's very disciplined, didn't put their squishy Bacchus forward.
Mango isn't being disciplined and gets caught lazy back in there by the blink by Rapio, but it won't be enough for a kill. Rapio didn't give chase, which I agree with, just in case he makes a mistake and overextends when Dobbo Disciples were on the way back. What an interesting set this has been so far. 1-1. Winner will go top of EU Xbox, at least for this week.
It really has been an interesting set, Hindu man, but man, this Chaos side has been winning in every single game. Dobbo's has just not slowed down whatsoever with their aggressive composition, but more importantly than that, Rival haven't been making the necessary changes to it. Like they did in Game 2, but then they just casually forgot about it in Game 3 and then picked the Terra and got abused.
Rival have got a lot of members on the left-hand side trying to defend against the, well, take the Gold Fury. Instead, Dobbo's Disciples take a Fire Giant. They only had Predators over here trying to contest. Fly did show up, but a little bit too late to the party as Switch keeps Davey away from the battle. The chase is on in the jungle, and it's DineOhSaw that's been caught. He's got the walls down, but the minions won't let him go anywhere. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side, OverPoweredUSB showing how good King Arthur can be at stopping anyone doing anything.
I love how Mango played that because he kept himself max distance away from getting Terra stunned and still utilizing that regurgitate attack range to find the kill.
Dobbo's Disciples now looking for their second Phoenix of the game. The right-hand fire minions are already pouring into Rival's base. Fire Giant around all 5 members of Dobbo's here. All they've got to do is find the right sock.
Trying to go onto Rapio. He's going to get knocked up and taken out. Vapourish Coast with that one. Diving the backline. OPUSB looking for Predators. Ultimate is available. Doesn't need it quite yet. Middle Phoenix falling. And also, Davies in a lot of trouble.
He will get his beads Aegis and dash to safety. Iron Monster comes out, but not enough damage from Fly to stop them. The assault on the Titan begins, but 4 members strong. Dobbos are trying to make a call about whether they commit, and it looks like that will be the case. Flopping from Switch, but zoned out of the action is Coast by Predators. Still, though, Dobson's whacking away on the Titan. Body blocks to high heaven from Rival to keep this one going. Vapourish Coast is cleaning up house in the back, though. And now it's only Fly left standing to try and stop him. A double kill for him.
God,
the Titan's alive.
No, it reset, but there's
Minions.
a fire minion wave. Rapio is up in 3 seconds. I think that's it, Hindu man.
Oh, he's going to run away?
Oh, no way. Rapio using that seismic shift, using the tremors. He has the minion aggro. He's not going to let this Titan fall.
I think the minions may die to the Titan. In goes OverPoweredUSB looking for the kill. Sustained as long as it can, but it will be a decide. It will be a reset. Rival are still in this game.
But for how much longer? That Titan can't be more than 1,000 health total, and honestly, once all 5 members from Dobbo's respawn, they're gonna barrel down the mid lane whenever they want.
I mean, a Bacchus flop onto the Titan followed by a Salt ultimate should be enough, right?
Throw a Bacchus in there, flop into Intoxicate should be enough damage, but yeah, you better play it safe and not sorry. I think Dobbo's is gonna just all in, whether it's the mid lane or the right side, or if they really want to play it safe, I guess they don't have to rush it knowing that that middle Phoenix is not due to respawn respawn for about another minute and a half. Right side Phoenix is respawning soon, so they could put pressure on that side of the map.
You can see how much damage that Dobbo's did in that engagement, just splitting Rival apart for the most part. But the staggering of deaths did come up big for Rival to keep him in the game for now. Hard one to defend this, Tony, because what do? You've got to, I guess you've got to stay out if you're Phoenix.
You have to ward
right?
everywhere.
Yeah.
Know what direction, or like know the formation that Dobbos is deciding to go. Whether it's going to be 5 down mid, a 4-1 split, a 1-1-3 split, whatever the case may be, and fight outside the Titan room, because there is no way you're going to prevent 1,000 damage or so onto your Titan at this point. Your best bet is to just be like that body blocker from football and keep everyone away from your quarterback.
Well, I think the one thing about this now is it's Dobbo's game to lose. That's how I'm looking at it here. It's a very difficult one to try and throw in this spot, but maybe Rival can defend. The fire minion wave on the right-hand side is the final one before the Phoenix. Now the Phoenix is respawned, but the commit onto Reform Mango will force his beads, but that was a Fields of Love in trade. Predators, meanwhile, in the mid lane, being kept honest as Dobson's coming in for the kill. I'm a monster didn't hit, but there will be the game. Dobson wins it.
The MVP for the last hit. I like it. Disapparate makes you invulnerable, so you get in position, you drop the Stellar Burst, you drop that Supernova. No way was that Titan going to survive.
So Rival come back, reform in week 2, and lose to, well, Dobbo's disciples and one member of that former Rival team, Vaporish Coast.
Some people say quality over quantity. I'm going to say the shot calling coming out of Dobbos in games 1 and 3, phenomenal. The switch up from Rival in game 2 was very impressive as well. I'm a little surprised they elected to ban the Xbalanque instead of the King Arthur, but more surprisingly also was the fact that they picked the Terra for DineOhSaw. He had a fantastic showing as the RDO. I expected him to play a little bit more aggressive with something else.
Yeah, I'm looking through exactly what happened throughout the whole set, and I kind of look at Dobbo's disciples and go, well, they've clearly scrimmed a little bit more as a team recently. You know, Rival coming back together means they wouldn't be all on the same page as quick. But Dobbo's disciples clearly are all following one leader the whole time.
It definitely felt that way, and the one leader at the end of game 3 was Dobson on that soul.
Well, with that, let's head to the desk to break down set 2 before we move on to set 3 of the day.
Vaporish Coast does it. He beats the old Rival squad. They win the set 2-1. Dobbo's disciples looked like the better team overall, I'd say. Game 3, it was just duo lane Taco again. The Coast and Switch get so far ahead, and the whole team really follows up really well. They play they got their objectives. They really spread the lead out, but it all started in the duo lane.
I think that's where everything transpires from in the end. When you have two opposing duo lanes that are just so prone to getting off to a fantastic start and being able to carry a game, I think you don't really have much of an option other than to try and play from outside or from within that lane. And that's exactly what Dobbo's disciples did a great job doing. And not only that, but the pressure they establish in duo, it carries over into. I think that's why we were able to see so much impact from Dobson in Game 3 on this Soul. Soul normally not a guy to be able to take off so early on, but when you're handed such an easy time because you have so much buff control and so much map pressure out of that duo lane, you're just not limited.
Coast and Switch both played so well in the duo lane, and it really wasn't that Coast was just doing it all by himself in this lane. Switch really did do quite a bit to set up Coast well and played this Bacchus very, very well. And Dobbo's disciples end up winning the set 2-1. Overpowered USB on the King Arthur, showing us why you don't see King Arthur all that often, because he's usually banned, because this god does a whole lot of stuff. I think Predators really was the one that was trying to hold Rival in it. He had that really good dive underneath the tier 2 and mid, but it was just that even when Rival gets the picks by fire and they killed Coast and they killed Dobson, it just it wasn't enough because Mango came in and really did very well. Mango, another good game on this Bakasura.
I think that was the big thing for Mango, too, is that he showed a lot of patience on the Baka, really made sure to just sit and wait out everything, because that's what Baka works in best, is that controlled chaos, and that's exactly what his team was able to provide. Intoxicate causing a lot of problems in terms of Rival not really trying or able to stay as grouped as they would have liked, which then left the vulnerabilities in the backline for Reform Mango to work with on that Bakasura and the Regurgitate.
Do you think that it was just the fact that Rivals kind of newly coming together now, or do you think that Dobbo's Disciples has a chance to be the best team in Europe on Xbox?
I think Dobbo's Disciples 100% has one of the best chances. I think the only thing that could possibly make them stronger is if they were to pick a 50-meter fly, but Dobson performing strong enough that I could completely understand why they would want to keep him as their mid laner. But I definitely think Vaporish Coast was a big catalyst and a big part of the reason why Rivals saw so much success, and they might have felt a little bit of that today.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. We'll have to wait and see how the rest of the European SCL pans out on the Xbox side. We're switching over to North America right on the other side of this break. Please stay tuned.